There comes a time in life when it feels like everything slows down. The doors that once looked promising stay shut. The prayers you whispered seem to float into the sky unanswered. You look around and wonder, did I miss my moment? Did I misunderstand what God told me? If I'm chosen, why does it feel like I'm being overlooked? If you've ever sat with those questions, this message is for you. You are not alone in feeling that tension, the quiet frustration when you know you're called for more, but life feels paused. You've obeyed, you've stayed faithful, but nothing seems to move forward. That space between promise and fulfillment, it can be uncomfortable, confusing, even lonely. But I want you to hear this clearly. Silence does not mean God has forgotten you. Delays are not denials. Closed doors are not rejection, they're redirection. Sometimes, before God shows the world why He chose you, He develops you in the background. He refines your character in private before He reveals your purpose in public. Think about this. Many people we admire today, leaders, innovators, world changers, walked through long seasons of being unseen. Their gifts were unnoticed. Their work was hidden. But those seasons weren't wasted. They were preparing ground for something bigger than they could imagine. It's easy to question your worth when applause is absent. It's easy to wonder if you're still called when life feels ordinary. But chosen ones often walk through quiet seasons, not because they're forgotten, but because they're being shaped. God never rushes real growth. The truth is, what God is building in you requires deep foundations. If He promoted you before your character was ready, the weight of your purpose could crush you. That's why He takes His time, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Remember, David was anointed king long before he wore the crown. Joseph had dreams of leadership, but was thrown into a pit and a prison before stepping into the palace. Even Jesus spent years in quiet preparation before 3 years of public ministry that changed the world. The pattern is clear. Calling comes first, then comes the process. And you, beloved, are in that process now. You may feel hidden, but you are not forgotten. You may feel stuck, but you are actually being positioned. The quiet season isn't wasted, it's working for your good. Even if you can't see it yet, stay faithful. Stay planted. The proof of your purpose is coming. You might be wondering why your life feels so quiet, while others seem to be accelerating. You've watched people around you step into opportunities, receive recognition, or walk through doors you've been praying for. And maybe, deep down, you've asked yourself, what about me? Did I fall behind? Am I not good enough? But hear me. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are being prepared, privately, intentionally, and thoroughly, because what's coming requires strength that shallow success can't provide. Preparation happens in hidden places. Think about a seed planted in soil. For weeks, sometimes months, nothing is visible above the ground. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. That seed is getting stable, growing strong, preparing to break through the soil at exactly the right time. You are that seed. The world may not see your progress, but God does. He's been building endurance in you, teaching you to trust Him when nothing makes sense, shaping your character so that when the moment comes, you're ready to handle the blessing with humility and wisdom. Don't mistake God's silence for absence. He's been speaking, just not always in the way you expect. Sometimes His words sound like closed doors protecting you. Sometimes they sound like people walking away to make room for better relationships. Sometimes they sound like a delay that strengthens your dependence on Him. It's not punishment. It's preparation. Look at real examples. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't right for television. Tyler Perry lived in his car, trying to get his plays off the ground. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was 40. Their success didn't appear overnight. It was forged in the quiet seasons. God works the same way with you. He hides you, not to hold you back, but to protect and prepare you. The spotlight is coming, but only when the foundation is secure. Because when God elevates you, He doesn't want temporary applause. He wants lasting impact. That's why He shapes your identity before He increases your influence. He molds your heart so that when people finally see your gifts, pride won't destroy you, and the platform won't overwhelm you. You've been in a quiet season, yes, but don't despise it. Hidden seasons are holy ground. They're the places where strength grows, where clarity forms, where your purpose matures. The waiting isn't wasted. The process is necessary. And soon, the evidence of your preparation will be undeniable. Stay steady. God is working, even when you can't see it yet. Let's be honest. Waiting seasons can wear you down. You start off full of faith, hopeful that God's promises will show up any day now. But as weeks turn into months and months stretch into years, it's natural to start doubting. You may have looked around and wondered, did I misunderstand God? Am I even called? Maybe I'm not qualified for this after all. Those doubts are real, but they're not the truth. God doesn't choose based on qualifications. He chooses based on purpose. And when he selects someone, he doesn't change his mind because of your doubts, weaknesses, or fears. Look at Gideon's story in the Bible. When God called him, Gideon wasn't standing tall, confident, or ready. He was hiding in fear, threshing wheat in a winepress, feeling weak and unqualified. But God didn't call him by his circumstances. He called him by his potential. The angel of the Lord appeared and said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Imagine that. Gideon felt small, yet God called him mighty. That same truth applies to you. You may feel uncertain, but heaven calls you chosen. You may feel weak, but God calls you strong. You may feel overlooked, but he says you are set apart. Doubt is normal, but don't let it define you. Even the greatest leaders faced moments of uncertainty. Moses doubted his ability to speak. Jeremiah thought he was too young. And even David, after being anointed king, spent years running and questioning when his promise would unfold. But here's the key. God's promises are not dependent on how confident you feel. They're anchored in his unchanging character. Romans 11 verse 29 says, "The gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable." That means once God calls you, he doesn't take it back, even if you question yourself. Doubt doesn't disqualify you. Giving up does. But if you keep showing up, even with trembling hands, God can work with that. He's not waiting for perfection. He's looking for willingness. It's okay to wrestle with uncertainty. It's okay to have questions. But don't let doubt silence your purpose. God often speaks the loudest in the moments when we feel the weakest. He meets us in the hidden places, the quiet corners of our hearts, reminding us that his strength is made perfect in our weakness. You don't have to feel ready to be ready. You just have to say yes. So even in the face of doubt, hold your head high. You're still chosen. You're still called. And God's promise over your life hasn't changed, not one bit. One of the hardest things to accept is when life doesn't move on our timeline. You pray, you believe, you prepare, and yet the breakthrough feels delayed. The door stays shut. The opportunity doesn't show up. And quietly, frustration builds. Maybe you've asked yourself, if I'm chosen, why is everything taking so long? Why does it feel like other people are moving ahead while I'm still waiting? But here's the truth you need to hear. Delay is not denial. God's timing is different from ours. We live by the clock, but God moves by preparation. He's not in a rush. He cares more about your foundation than your fast-track success. Think about Joseph in the Bible. God gave him dreams of leadership at a young age. But before the palace came the pit. Before influence came injustice. Before fulfillment came years of waiting. Years in prison. Years misunderstood. Years hidden. But all of it was part of God's plan. The delay wasn't punishment. It was positioning. God was developing Joseph's character, building his resilience, teaching him how to lead with wisdom. So when the moment arrived, Joseph wasn't just gifted, he was grounded. That same process is happening in you. If the door hasn't opened yet, it's not because you're forgotten. It's because God is preparing the space. Sometimes he's preparing the room, and sometimes he's preparing you. Either way, when the timing is right, everything will align. Isaiah 60 verse 22 reminds us, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. You don't have to strive or chase. You just have to stay faithful. You don't need to force open doors God has already marked for your future. When it's your time, you won't need to fight for a seat at the table. God will make room for you. But he cares too much about you to promote you before you're ready. Some blessings carry weight. Influence requires maturity. Platforms need character to stand strong. Without that foundation, what should be a blessing can become a burden. So, if you're still waiting, trust the process. God's delay is His protection. He's building strength in you, teaching you patience, deepening your roots. Hidden seasons aren't wasted. They're where your capacity grows. They're where your heart gets aligned. They're where your faith is stretched. And when the moment comes, and it will come, it won't be because you forced it. It will be because God opened the door, fully prepared, fully aligned, fully ordained. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared for the exact moment designed for you. Trust His timing. The delay is not denial, it's divine design. It's easy to look at your life and think you've fallen behind. You scroll through social media and see success stories everywhere. People getting promoted, starting businesses, building families, achieving dreams, and you wonder, did I miss my moment? Am I too late? Why does it feel like I'm standing still? But let me remind you, you are not behind. You are being positioned. There's a difference between being delayed and being divinely placed. You may feel overlooked by people, but you've never been overlooked by God. He knows exactly where you are. And where you are right now is not random. It's part of His strategy for your life. Sometimes positioning feels like standing still. Other times, it feels like rejection. But more often than not, it feels uncomfortable. That's because God often places you in quiet spaces before public ones. He tucks you away to refine you, to build your endurance, to strengthen your character. We see this pattern throughout Scripture. David was anointed to be king, but spent years in the fields, alone with sheep. Moses was called to lead God's people, but spent decades hidden in the wilderness. Even Jesus, the Son of God, lived in quiet preparation for 30 years before stepping into His public assignment. If God positioned them in hidden seasons, why would your story be any different? Positioning protects your promise. It ensures that when your opportunity comes, you're not just available, you're ready. Ready to carry the weight of responsibility, ready to steward the blessing, ready to lead with humility and wisdom. Sometimes God closes certain doors, not to punish you, but to reposition you. Sometimes the people who left were meant to clear space for those aligned with your purpose. Sometimes the opportunity you thought you lost wasn't the final destination. It was a temporary detour to your divine assignment. Psalm 37 verse 23 reminds us, "The Lord directs the steps of the godly. He delights in every detail of their lives." That means nothing is wasted. Not the waiting, not the heartbreak, not the hidden moments. Every detail, the small jobs, the quiet seasons, the unknown places, God uses them all to position you for your future. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are not late. You are being positioned for something greater than you can imagine. Trust the process. Trust the pauses. Trust that where you are right now is not a mistake. It's preparation for where you're about to go. The right doors will open at the right time. The right people will enter your life. The right opportunities will align. You are not behind. You're exactly where God needs you to be. Hidden seasons are some of the most misunderstood parts of life. To the outside world, it may look like nothing is happening. But in reality, God often does His deepest work when no one is watching. If you're in a season where your progress feels invisible, let me encourage you. God does His best building in private. Think about the way foundations are built for skyscrapers. Before the building rises, there's a long period of digging, planning, and laying solid groundwork. It's not flashy. It's not exciting to look at. But without that hidden work underground, the building could never stand tall. The same applies to your life. Your hidden season is your foundation. It's where your strength is developed. It's where your faith matures. It's where your character is tested. And though it feels quiet, it's far from empty. In fact, some of the greatest leaders, influencers, and visionaries were shaped in silence. They weren't handed success overnight. They endured years of preparation, learning, failing, growing, until the time was right. Consider Nelson Mandela. Before leading South Africa, he spent 27 years in prison. It was during that hidden, painful season that his courage, patience, and leadership were forged. Without that preparation, he wouldn't have been ready to lead a divided nation. Or think of Vera Wang. She didn't design her first dress until age 40. Her journey looked delayed to others, but God was building layers of experience and resilience within her. Your life may feel quiet now. You may feel unseen, but your hidden season is a gift, not a punishment. God hides you to heal you. He hides you to prepare you. He hides you to sharpen your vision and protect your heart. If you skip the hidden season, you'll step into opportunities you're not equipped to handle. That's why God takes his time, because what he's building through you carries weight, purpose, and legacy. James 1 verse 4 says, "Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Hidden seasons finish the work. They shape you so when the spotlight comes, you're stable. When the opportunity arrives, you're ready. When influence grows, your character is strong enough to carry it. Don't despise the quiet. Embrace it. You're not being buried. You're being planted. You're not being hidden to waste time. You're being hidden to grow roots. And soon, the growth beneath the surface will break through for all to see. Stay faithful. Your hidden season has a purpose. It's easy to see yourself through the lens of your current circumstances, through fear, uncertainty, or insecurity. But God doesn't see you the way you see yourself. He speaks to your future, even when your present feels small. We see this perfectly in the story of Gideon. He was hiding in fear, working quietly, convinced he was weak and unqualified. Yet, when God approached him, he didn't say, "You're afraid," or "You're stuck." Instead, God called him mighty warrior. Why? Because God always calls us by our potential, not by our present situation. The same is true for you. You may feel ordinary, unsure, or overlooked, but God calls you chosen. He calls you prepared. He calls you equipped. Even when you feel unqualified, heaven declares that you are more than enough because God is with you. Think about Moses. He doubted himself because of his speech. But God wasn't focused on his weakness. He was focused on his assignment. Or Jeremiah, who said he was too young. But God reminded him, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." It's not about your comfort level. It's about God's calling. You may still wrestle with fear. You may still feel unsure. But those feelings don't disqualify you. God isn't waiting for you to be fearless before he uses you. He's waiting for your willingness. God uses ordinary, imperfect people to accomplish extraordinary things. Look around at the people he's used. Rahab was broken. David was overlooked. Peter made mistakes. Yet they all played a part in God's plan. You are no different. Don't let fear label you. Don't let doubt tell your story. Let God's voice define you. You are who he says you are. Chosen, equipped, appointed, and ready. Romans 8 verse 31 reminds us, if God is for us, who can be against us? That means your weaknesses, your past, your fears, they don't stand a chance against the power of God moving in your life. The truth is, God never called the most polished. He called the most willing. He uses those who lean on him in their uncertainty and say, "Yes, Lord, even if I'm scared." You don't have to feel ready to answer the call. You just have to trust that God is ready. So today, silence the voice of fear. Let go of the labels others have placed on you. Stop disqualifying yourself based on where you are now. God sees your future, and he's already speaking to the person you're becoming. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are not falling behind. You are being prepared, positioned, and called by God's promise, not by your fear. Sometimes, the hardest part of your journey isn't the waiting. It's the moments when God starts removing people, opportunities, or options from your life. It feels like loss. It feels like rejection. But often, it's God refining your circle to prepare you for where you're going. Look at Gideon's story again. He started with an army of 32,000 men to face his enemies. But God said, "That's too many." One by one, God reduced Gideon's army until only 300 were left. Imagine how that must have felt, already outnumbered, now left with a fraction of what seemed necessary for victory. But here's the truth. God often reduces the crowd to reveal his power. He removes distractions. He filters out those who aren't meant to go where you're going. He simplifies your life so that when the breakthrough comes, you'll know without a doubt it was him. You may feel like people have walked away. Opportunities have dried up. Options seem fewer than ever. But that's not failure. That's strategy. God reduces to reveal. He clears the noise to sharpen your focus. He limits your resources so your dependence grows. He removes temporary people to make room for those aligned with your destiny. You're not losing, you're being refined. Think about other examples. Tyler Perry faced rejection after rejection before his plays succeeded. Howard Schultz was turned down hundreds of times before building Starbucks. Their crowds were small at first, but the pruning prepared them for the platform. The same principle applies to you. Don't panic when the crowd shrinks. Don't lose heart when doors close. God is building your faith, not your fan base. He's training your heart, not your popularity. And he's setting you up for a victory so undeniable that no one, not even your critics, can take credit. Isaiah 42 verse 8 says, "I am the Lord, that is my name. I will not yield my glory to another." When God moves in your life, it's going to be clear that it was his hand, his timing, his plan, not your connections, not your resume, not your status. So if life feels smaller right now, if your circle feels tighter, if the path feels narrower, stay steady. God is removing excess to reveal his power. He's shaping your heart, so you'll be ready for the next season. Small beginnings often lead to significant impact. Limited resources produce deep faith, and quiet seasons prepare you for loud victories. The reduction isn't punishment, it's preparation for something only God can do. Stay faithful. Stay available. The crowd may be smaller, but God's plan is bigger than ever. You've walked through the hidden seasons. You've faced the doubts. You've stayed faithful even when the doors didn't open. You've watched the crowd shrink, the options narrow, and yet, here you are, still standing. And I want to tell you with full confidence, your reveal is coming. God never hides you forever. He may prepare you in silence, but when the time is right, he brings everything into the light. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every quiet prayer, it's all been building toward the moment when God reveals his work through you. It may not happen the way you expect. It may not look like applause or instant fame. But when God reveals you, it's undeniable. It's purposeful. It's positioned for his glory, not for shallow attention. Look at the pattern throughout Scripture and history. Joseph's time came when he was elevated from prison to palace overnight. David's time came when his years in the fields prepared him to defeat Goliath. Even Jesus, after 30 years of quiet preparation, stepped into public ministry that changed the world. You're not an exception to that process. The same God who orchestrated their reveal is orchestrating yours. He hasn't forgotten the promise. He hasn't abandoned the assignment. And he certainly hasn't changed his mind about you. The hidden season has been building something in you that success cannot. It's been fortifying your character, maturing your faith, and deepening your resilience. And now, as God positions you for what's next, you'll step into rooms, opportunities, and relationships with confidence. Not because of your qualifications, but because you know who sent you. Proverbs 18 verse 16 says, "A person's gift makes room for them and brings them before great men." Your gift, refined in silence, is ready. Your heart, humbled by the waiting, is prepared. And your calling, confirmed by God, is set in motion. Don't be surprised when doors open without your striving. Don't be shocked when people who once overlooked you recognize your value. And don't be overwhelmed when opportunities come that feel bigger than your ability, because they are. But they're not bigger than your God. He has gone before you. He's prepared the way. And now he's revealing you. Not for your glory, but for his. To show the world what he can do through a surrendered, available, obedient life. So stand tall. Fix your eyes on him. Walk with boldness, knowing you've been chosen, prepared, and now positioned. This is your time. The reveal is here. The world may just be meeting you, but heaven has been preparing you all along. God is proving why he chose you. And soon, so will everyone else.